Muscle number 2 is glute minimus. So this is, again, it's at the side of the hip, but it's in a different place. So if you come lower, you should be able to feel what's called the femoral head, or the neck of the femur, I should say, because the femoral head's actually into the pelvis, but you can feel the bony bit where the leg bone is. Now the glute minimus, if you go up and then you drop off that bony bit there, you drop off and you go into the fleshy bit there. This is where your glute minimus is. So glute medius joins here, but all the way up to the top of the pelvis. Glute minimus is from here at the bottom, but it just goes about halfway up. So what you'll hopefully understand now is that we need to use the foam roller or the old ball in this area. The symptoms are slightly different for glute minimus. The symptoms can go down the outside of the leg more, all the way down the bottom part of the leg, and possibly all the way into the ankle, and maybe even into the side of the foot. You may get it down into the hamstring, into the back of the knee. So glute medius are sort of centre of the low back, into the buttocks, a little bit on the high hamstring. Glute minimus is more down the outside of the leg, possibly into the ankle, possibly into the foot. You can go down into the hamstring, into the back of the knee. And those are the sort of the differences between glute medius and glute minimus. But again, what we want to be able to do is get our thumbs, just dig in there. If you watch what I'm doing, if I just go into this position, the muscle relax. If I stay out here, there's a bit of tension in the muscle. But if I just sort of bend in there, take the weight off of this leg and put it on this one, the muscle relaxes. And then that allows me just to get in there, and I can feel, is there any tension? That's number one. And if I push on where there's tension, does it go down my leg at all? Because if there is, then that might be a good place to start working. So again, I would grab, let me do the roller first. So what I would do is I would come onto the thigh, or the side of the thigh. I would then find that bony bit on the side of the leg, and then I would just drop into the fleshy part of the hip. And again, I would do exactly the same. I would just work through on the roller, like so, going back and forth, and then again, I would just work from the bottom of the pelvis to halfway up. I don't need to go up unless you want to work on glute medius as well. And you can go sort of to the front of it, and you can go to the back of it, because it sort of fans around the hip as well. So there are posterior fibres, there are also anterior fibres. So they're at the front of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis. And you work on there, and again, you go up and down. You can go side to side, and then the other way is to come onto the ball, and again, just work with the ball and through. And you would just work on this. Again, 1, 2, possibly 3 minutes. You'll work on both sides. Just looking for areas. Don't be too precious about where you go. Go and look for where there's tightness, and then just work on it. As I mentioned before, work on the worst side a little bit more than the not so worst side or the good side, and then over time, keeping them even, you may find that symptoms start to reduce. That will help you understand that yes, there was tension there, and yes, massaging the trigger points is helping.